Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Art Vietnam. Today we are looking into the famous painting by Tran Van Can, Em Thuy. It's an oil on canvas which was started drawing in 1942 and completed in 1943. Em Thuy by painter Tran Van Can is one of the most famous portraits of the 20th century in Vietnam, and was even compared with the Mona Lisa by Leonardo de Vinci, as both paintings evoked a feeling of mystery and nostalgia. Painter Tran Van Can was born on August 13, 1910 in Hai Phong city, a major port city in northeastern Vietnam. But he lives and works mainly in Hanoi. Born into a poor intellectual family, painter Tran Van Can's father was a postal worker who was well educated by his family. In his childhood, Can was influenced by the art of his mother, who was a craftsman in making bamboo handicrafts and paper lanterns, and his uncle who specialized in drawing paper lamps. Tran Van Can soon showed talent and interest in painting. This desire was approved by his father. Graduated valedictorian of Indochina College of Fine Arts, Batch 7, between 1931 and 1936 with Tiễn khoá đi thi hương, or in English, saying goodbye to brother who's going to take a college exam. But it was not until Em Thuy oil painting that actually made Tran Van Can famous. As a master painter in the golden generation of Vietnam fine arts, Can has laid the foundation for the fine arts industry of the country with beautiful paintings laden in high artistic values, which are still on display in solemnly in Vietnam Arts Museum. During World War II, while producing artworks, the artist often lived with relatives in Hanoi Street in Hanoi. In his family, his most favorite granddaughter is Em Thuy, so the painter drew her portrait in 1942 with a simple title, Em Thuy. Then Em Thuy was 8 years old. Painter Tran Van Can has a long and prolific career, yet a simple portrait of his niece on a bamboo chair is what Can's most remembered for. The painting was praised for the purity and innocence of childhood, masterfully depicted within the blend of whites and soft pastels. The little girl's eyes are the main draw of the portrait, inviting, waiting, wondering. Can quoted Matisse as an influence on his works during this time, as seen in the off-center focus on the portrait. This is a beautiful blend of the Western influence with the Eastern aesthetics. Em Thuy is dressed in white, sitting naturally on a rattan chair, small shoulders, hands lightly intertwined, thin arms naturally drop on thighs, eyes wide open, chubby face, straight nose, beautiful mouth. Everything exudes innocence, confidence, clarity, and a bit of surprise by childhood. Her bright face is the highlight of the picture. By focusing heavily on the freshness and liveliness of her face, in contrast with sharp detailing of body features, we can feel the painter's affection for childhood in Vietnam. We see him as wanting to cherish, protect the innocence of children, and do not want anything to mother that innocent soul. The oil paint material under his artistry was skillfully used. The painter used the harmony between the whiteness of her clothes with the dark brown curves of the rattan chair and the hair. The girl's softness is embellished by the solid golden brown background. Bright colors are the main color of the picture. The large white of the clothes is followed by the brightness of her face, reflected onto the smaller white stroke and white markings on the background. The whole picture exudes a purity of childhood. Art has been skillfully used to express Can's emotions and feelings to viewers. The painting has become a national treasure. It will forever touch the audience by cherishing the beauty of childhood through the affectionate look from the artist's earnest love. Let us further appreciate the talent of the master painter of Vietnamese painting and realize the responsibility of every person to protect childhood, giving the best to children. Interestingly, 36 years after Em Thuy, Can painted another portrait of the same niece, albeit at a younger age. The 1979 portrait named Cháu Gái Thuy has much stronger color contrast, brush strokes, and techniques. Although it's not as popular as the 1942 portrait, it provides an insight into how the painter's style has changed over the years. It can be said that Tran Van Can was a painter who had his own signature style in his works. His paintings always have images of girls and flowers because they are close characteristic of image of beauty. He is also one of the few artists who experimented with many materials, genres, and have successful works in each individual genre. He is also one of the leading painters in the experiment, creation from Vietnamese paint material to make lacquer paintings, turning lacquer into a famous art form in Vietnam. For this contribution to the art, Tran Van Can is ranked 34,180th famous person in the world and 90th in the list of famous painters. Fun fact, Em Thuy inspired British composer Paul Zetter to compose Little Thuy Minute as he was very much mesmerized by it. He also led the effort to restore the painting in 2004. That's it. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and don't forget to subscribe and see you next time.